So I went to Lake Arrowhead in Southern California for the first time. It's in the San Bernardino Mountain ranges. And this is actually a synthetic lake, as one of the tour guides described later. And if they tore away the dams or the dams collapsed, the whole thing would drain in 5 minutes. And, that basically means the water level has to be tightly regulated, so these houses have the appropriate level of coastline. And these are carp that are very well fed. People throw food pellets in all the time to feed the fish and the ducks. So it's kind of hard to get a good footage here, but they basically won't even respond to food most of the time because there's so much of it just floating around. These are 5 white Chinese geese, I believe. I'm not sure why some have, gray feathers. So the lake itself is very beautiful, and this is a very typical view on the coastline. There are just so many people there all the time. There are thousands of boats, and people are always partying and whatnot. I think there's actually a high school nearby, Rim of the World High School or whatever. So here's just some footage of things big and small. Here's an ant. Not quite sure what species that is. Here's a mother duck with 7 ducklings. It's just your standard mallard family. So you can see mallards flying around. Mallards are always capitalizing on the presence of humans and water or synthetic bodies of water. It took me over 2 hours to drive up here from San Diego, and basically it's sort of a desert mountain range, the San Bernardino Mountains at this point. It's dry. There are a lot of chaparral plants, and when you get above usually 4,000 feet in elevation, which is I think 1,300 meters, you start to see some pines, not any that are very big, although there are these coulter pines and I think sugar pines here, which produce the biggest and the most vicious looking pine cones ever, which I really like. But this is footage of me with my friends on this boat tour. So it costs $16 per person. This is in May of 2014, on Memorial Day weekend. And we got to ride around for about 50 minutes, I believe. And I think the shoreline of this lake is 14 miles, although the actual dimensions are something like 1 point something miles times 2 point something miles. But there's a lot of contours along the shore. There are various houses owned by rich people in the past and present. So the tour guide will keep name dropping. I highly recommend you take a boat tour anytime there's any kind of a large lake like this. It always makes it a lot funner. And there's just not any way you can easily navigate around the coast anyway, because there's not going to be a convenient hiking trail around most lakes for you to look at. So yeah, I get the sense that there's a lot of affluent people living here. The teenagers you see on these speedboats and stuff, they're no doubt rich kids or the friends of rich kids. And in the middle of the lake is this tower. I don't remember what the purpose was, but I could see all these cliff swallows going to their nests and flying back and forth between them. So overall, I recommend coming to Lake Arrowhead at least once. We spent most of our time waiting for this boat trip in this shopping center, a village or whatever, and basically parking's a little bit tight, but you'll have a pretty good time. There's just a lot of shops and, people walking around from all over. So, if you like people watching or whatnot, it's a pretty good place to be.